Hey guys, it's Sleepy Reader here, Damien. Let's talk about a few comics. I read Pencilhead now a while back, but I wanted to mention it. I thought the art was really cool, and that's kind of why I jumped on this. And it seemed a little fun to get kind of a story that's set in the world of comic book artists and maybe, you know, get some insight or get a little dirt. But it was kind of a loose and shaggy story already in the first three issues, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control in the last three issues, which I read all at once. Although it's now been a week or two ago. I meant to do a video sooner. So like issue 3 has some connection to things that went on in issue 1 and 2, but any sort of sense of a little bit of a story brewing kind of went away, and it was just kind of our hero Ted McKeever meeting up with different people who are apparently, who we can, some people maybe more than me, figure out who those people are in real life. I mean, this is Archie Goodwin, the beloved editor, and he's telling a story about how he basically fired Gil Kane. I wonder what year that happened, because he caught Gil Kane stealing original art out of Marvel's vaults. Now that sounds pretty crappy. However, Marvel was keeping everyone's art in the vaults, and Gil Kane probably had complex feelings about all of that. But he was stealing other people's art, I believe, at least according to this. And we get other people basically presented badly. This person is apparently a young Ann Nocenti and gets kind of a positive spin. But anyone who's spun positively, there's very little focus on them. The focus here really is to make Frank Miller seem like an utter freak. I'm very unclear of what the timeline is or anything. Like, is this after Frank Miller had gone all Dark Horse and Sin City and everything, or after that, or well before that? I wasn't really sure. Really cool art. I really actually think I like the style Ted McKeever uses here even more than in other places that I've seen his art. And it seems like, these monsters are coming out and something's going to happen with that, but it never does. And so by issue 4, we get these 2-panel pages with just writing at the bottom that just kind of reviews various things about his career. And even though he's like slammed this editor previously, he mentions in passing that the editor actually supported him. When push came to shove with a famous writer. But all I get out of this is bitterness and how horrible the comic industry has been to him. There's no, if he's such a great artist, where is he examining himself and his own behaviors? It's just a kind of lazy set of, especially as it spirals out in the last 2 issues, a lazy set of notes that are mostly complaints. There is a sort of a nod to the fact that to Jack Kirby was nice to him, but that's passed back over because he really wants to focus on the negative. And not only is he focusing on the negative, but while he himself is being extremely lazy and giving very little, it's more like looking at someone's notebooks than reading a story. Now, looking at someone's notebooks, if you love that artist or that writer, can be a fun thing, but just in the context of all his negativity and everything, he really should look at himself too. Why, maybe the comics industry is really cruel to creators, but you just sort of sense for someone who, with his apparent lack of thoughtfulness about things, how much of his unhappy career in comics did he do to himself? And why does he view everyone as these simplified cliches? I could take the simplified cliches if they were serving a story or serving some purpose other than to, make himself feel somehow superior. Because that seems to be the only point of it all in the end. So these are very cool. I mean, again, we're back to kind of a notebook, kind of an artist notebook look. And on that level, I still enjoyed it. But given that the first 2 issues made me think at least there was something going on here, I was disappointed. So, yeah, it's like, did he give up after 2 issues? Or somewhere in the middle of the 3rd? Or did he plan to do this all along? And, is this kind of just an FU to everybody? It ends actually with a photograph of himself ripping off the paper. I think this is the sort of thing that if you found it in the cheap bins, it would be kind of a fascinating novelty of an artist just sort of going a little crazy with getting revenge on people. There's the, his view of an editor, I guess. So anyway, much more satisfying is House of Penance, although it's more than 50% the art. It's just this really cool heavy metal, if you will, for lack of, Mobius and other kinds of artists in the mix. I feel like even like a mix of maybe the stranger sides of Bernie Wrightston mixed with Mobius, mixed with Basil Wolverton or something, and it fits so well. Fits so well in this kind of just creepy psychological ghost story about murder and a crazy house. It's very Edgar Allan Poe, but in an extended. If Edgar Allan Poe did novels rather than short stories. I guess it's a bit Kafka too. So it's hard to imagine, that this would be so mesmerizing with a different artist. Although there might, another artist's take on it might be good too. And as you can see, really awesome colors too by, so the artist is Ian Bertram and the colorist Dave Stewart, the writer Peter J. Tomasi. It's interesting to see him do something so completely different than what he would do at DC. So, I think this is either 5 or 6 issues, so it's definitely a great ride. It'll be a great read in a trade, hopefully a nice hardback trade. Divinity 3 and 4. So this is Divinity 2, actually. And it wraps up. It was a great ride. I think at the end... So we get an interesting background on this new Divinity. The first Divinity series familiarized us with this Divinity called Abram, and now we have Misha or Mishka. And they're such different characters, and that's really fun. And they have enormous, exciting battles, which are really cool to watch unfold as they fight each other through time and space. Loved the art, loved the color. It was written by Matt Kindt, and I think Matt Kindt's really good on ideas. I think in terms of the plot ending, it was okay, but it didn't live up to everything that came before it. It felt easy somehow, or it felt like there should be some extra twist or something. But I thoroughly enjoyed this, and the art and the story and the deluxe packaging that, for whatever reason, Valiant chooses to give to a few of their comics. So it has the DVD extras at the back, so to speak, the extra material with commentary from the artist or the writer or the inker. And there will be a Divinity 3. So that's a good thing. Divinity's a very worthwhile superhero comic from an odd angle of superheroes, of focusing kind of on the godlike stuff, I suppose, the cosmic god hero side of superhero comics. which Jim Starlin and Jack Kirby have done, but it hasn't been explored. Been explored in this specific way before. With kind of a more melancholy tone, I suppose. It's interesting. Autumnlands 12. Still one of my favorite books, although I think there were aspects to this issue that made me a little nervous of like, where are we going from here? Is there going to be a little bit too much of randomness in the directions that this series is going to take? I was sort of thinking that it was going to be kind of these tight episodes where our heroes meet strange, which they do, meet strange characters and strange situations, and they tell us more about our world. All of that's there, but they're just, I don't know what it was. I can't say, and I could be wrong. It just made me worry. I suddenly could imagine future issues going off in a direction that might feel kind of random. But still, this was a really good issue, and these kind of goddess-like statues who are actually slaves to humans of the past is a fascinating concept. Maybe it's the way everything ends with kind of, well, I shouldn't give away the ending, but it leaves a big question mark in my mind, and we'll see how they handle it in the next issue. But really good stuff nonetheless. Okay, here's a book that I enjoy, but I can't explain why too much. The second issue of She-Wolf here, it has this very, for lack of a better word, art comic kind of art. Stuff that you might normally see in black and white, and it takes on a nice, weirder dimension by being in color, and I love the way he's colored it. I think he did his own coloring. Yeah, just credits him for everything, Richard Tommaso. I think the script maybe goes too far in risking incoherence, but we learn a little more coherence in this issue. But then to do that takes these little kind of childlike leaps of someone just comes along and explains things to the character kind of thing that you might see in a story that a child made up herself or himself. But I'm still on for the ride. I don't know if this is an ongoing or more of a mini-series. It feels like it's probably a mini-series, so I wouldn't be surprised if it ends in 6 or 7 issues. Let's see, does it say anything on the cover? It just says spell number 2, mirror walking. So I think it's either you get into the style of this and you accept the kind of fuzziness about certain aspects of the plot or the situation. I don't even know that you can call it a plot yet. So you either accept that or you don't like this kind of thing. So you can see the art that I've shown and probably be able to tell if this is for you or not. Okay, I will come back to you guys soon. I'm recording this still in Portland, Oregon, but by the time I upload it, I'll probably be on my vacation somewhere in the lake region of Maine. And I may get to do some more videos, or I may not. And there was a sleepy vlog I was supposed to do a second part of, and I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do that, at least not until I return 8 or 9 days from now back to my home. Talk to y'all later.